Hey friends, this is just Siah and Mommy, obviously just Mommy now, and
This is Siah.
we're here to do a video about our pregnancies as plus size females and our experiences and stuff like that. So we can get started.
Okay, so I will start with mine because I have the oldest child. So I got pregnant by accident in 2011, and it wasn't planned, because I'm pretty sure that if it was planned, I probably would have gotten more negative reactions from doctors. And when I did go and find out that I was pregnant, I'm a diabetic, so I had to do a lot of different things. So I found out I was pregnant in February of 2011. Yeah, it was like February 2011. It was really weird because I was living with my mom and my cousin, and my cousin would have this girl come over who had this baby, and this baby will find me everywhere that I was. And it was so funny because it's like I would not even know that child was in the house, and that child would find me. And there's this saying that babies can sense other babies, and I guess that baby really sensed it, because after I mentioned the child continuously following me, Britt here said, "You should take a pregnancy test because you're probably pregnant." I was like, "No, I haven't even missed my period or whatever." And usually they recommend that you take your pregnancy test in the morning because apparently you have higher levels of HCG in the mornings. But I took the pregnancy test in the evening. It was 8 o'clock at night, and I remember peeing on the stick, and it didn't even it filled up so quickly, and it just immediately 2 lines immediately. It was oh my gosh,
Pregnant.
Super pregnant. I was all right. I still didn't believe it, so I bought 2 more tests. I peed on 2 more sticks, and it was the same thing. And it was just kind of amazing because it was unplanned. I didn't plan it, but nonetheless, children are blessings no matter how they come. So I was really excited, but that excitement kind of went down a little bit after going to the doctors and confirming the pregnancy, because it was a lot of, I would say, negative on the providers end. And I know, because I work with medical professionals, that they do recommend you be a little smaller when you're pregnant. But I was probably, I want to say maybe 75 pounds lighter then than I am now. So to hear those words that, oh my gosh, you're overweight, so there's a lot of things that you have to be careful for while you're pregnant, more careful than a normal sized woman giving birth. So I'm also high risk because I have diabetes, so that gave me even more fear about being pregnant. But from the beginning, I had to see multiple doctors. I had to see high-risk physicians from a separate practice from my GYN, and then I was constantly getting sonograms. They were constantly weighing, measuring the baby and her growth while I was pregnant. I was told that I would be getting a C-section because I was heavyset, and without actually meeting my child's father, they presumed that he was as well large, and presumed that my baby would be large because of the diabetes, because of my weight. So I was told I was going to have a C-section. But lo and behold, I delivered at 36 and a half weeks. I was 1 day shy of being 37 weeks. And I went to the high-risk doctor the day before I went into labor, and they were checking my amniotic fluid and the growth of the baby. And at that very moment, she had said, she's like, "Wow, your baby is been in position for some time now, and her head is really low." I was like, "Oh, okay, so maybe it'll be a couple more days or so." And she's like, "Yeah, but the first pregnancy, it's really not that easy. It's not that quick." I'm like, "Okay." Then I went to my regular GYN the very next day, and saw a doctor who, from the very beginning of the pregnancy, had been very negative, had really not anything good to say throughout my whole entire pregnancy. So, it's 36 weeks when they start checking your cervix, right? Can't remember.
I think so. I think it was mine was, 36.
36. Yeah, because mine was, I can't remember because it was 9 years ago, but
it's sad because it was a couple years ago and I can't remember everything.
So I'm going to backtrack a week. Actually, the week before I saw the high-risk doctor, I saw a GYN, and they actually checked my cervix a little earlier at 35 weeks for probably whatever reason, because I'm a diabetic and so on and so forth. So at that moment, I was 3.5 centimeters dilated. That is not a indication that you're going to labor early, because I think you
don't want that.
You may not even dilate anymore at all. So, I go home thinking, okay, I got a couple more weeks. I get to the regular GYN the day after seeing the high-risk doctor, and that different doctor, was just like, oh, you didn't dilate, you can go home. I'm like, really? Because last week I dilated 3 centimeters. You got a tricky cervix. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. Really? But the high-risk doctor was like, she's been positioned, she's ready. You sure I didn't dilate? We don't know. And just sent me home. So I'm 22 years old at this point. I think I just turned 22 in July, and it's October. So I'm thinking, all right, I'll go home. So I was like, let me go grocery store. I went to 2 grocery stores. I get home. My mom was like, you should really go to the hospital. I was like, why? I was like, he said it's going to be another 2 or 3 weeks or so. She was like, I don't think so. She was like, what your doctor told you yesterday versus what your doctor's telling you now are 2 different things. I was like, I feel fine. I'm not going to go to the hospital. So then I'm watching TV. I remember exactly what I was watching. I was watching Chopped. I was eating an apple. I was comfortable. And I was like, dang, I really have to go to the bathroom. I went to the bathroom and I was trying to go number 2, which felt like forever. And I'm pushing. And then that plop came out and it was not out the right hole. And I was like, that is not it. Right. I was like, that is not it. And instead of calling the doctor, I immediately called my sister, who said, call your doctor, silly. I was like, yeah, but I was like, I don't know if that's it, because it wasn't like a gush or anything. It was just from what I was told, it was probably my mucus plug. So I was like, all right, I'll call the doctor. So I called the doctor, and they said, you should get to emergency room. I was like, okay. So then I call this one.
I was about to say, when did you,
I think I had called you after the doctors, because I called you, and then you were coming over, and you remember I had gotten in the shower.
My mom's supposed to take you to that, but she said no.
Because I was a diabetic, and she was just a little concerned, I think, because she didn't know what could happen. I'm a diabetic, and which makes sense.
She did not want your water to break in her car.
Because we weren't really sure if the water broke. So
right. She was like, oh, no.
She comes to the house. I'm taking a shower. Now, mind you, we live a couple of, doors or houses down from each other. So I'm taking my shower. She comes in. We had called the ambulance, and we go to the hospital.
I just want to stop you right there, because who takes a whole shower, gets ready, and you came down the stairs so calmly, I'm like,
I didn't have any pain. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, my water's gonna break, so I'm gonna be in pain. But I didn't have any pain. So and I took a shower because I went to work earlier that day, and I'm like, all right. My sister's like, make sure you wash all that funk off of you, because your legs are gonna be up.
Well, yeah,
and everything. So I'm like, okay. So I was getting ready to have the baby. So
it just seems like it should have been more dramatic. You know how
it should have been,
especially never experiencing somebody about to give birth, and I'm just expecting this whole scene when I'm coming in, I'm panicking, I'm running.
Right, it wasn't panic. It was more like chill. And to be honest with you, I think I was all right about everything up until the time that I got to the hospital, because by the time I got to the hospital, I'm thinking I still have to poop, and I'm still upset that I didn't get to poop. That was really my biggest concern. I'm like, oh my God, I gotta poop. I just want to poop. And
it was funny. You literally asked that after you had her.
Yeah.
Did they poop? I'm like, yeah, it was there.
Yeah, that was the best poop I've had in my life.
It was disturbing to see.
Yeah, she was in the delivery room with me, and that was an experience. So yeah, I take the ambulance to the hospital. You follow behind me, and so I get to the hospital. I get yelled at by my mom for not going to the hospital when she told me, because I literally got there. Right, she's like, I told you to come with me. I told you to go to the hospital, but you didn't listen. I wasn't driving back up. I was like, okay, whatever. I'm having a baby. So I get to the hospital. They check my cervix. I'm 7.5 centimeters dilated. Meaning, at the time that I left that doctor's office at 3 p.m., maybe even 3:30 to 9 o'clock at night, I was dilating. Meaning, I had at least been 5 centimeters by the time I left there. So that's upsetting because anything could happen to me. I wasn't driving at the time. I didn't have a license, so I relied on other people for transportation. And where I was living at the time was...
I knew the baby was coming. You make so much noise for a little guy. There is a baby here in the background, my baby, so there's nothing we can do about that.
Little baby. He's cool, though. So, yeah, get to the hospital, 7.5 centimeters dilated. Really upset that they didn't tell me that before I left the doctor's office. And got an epidural. When I was almost 10 centimeters dilated, I got the epidural. I think it was like 9.5 centimeters, and I was in pain. But it wasn't even like I didn't even realize that you could have like the period kind of cramps or like the back cramps. I had the ones in my back. So I got my epidural. And the whole time I'm just thinking, dang, I really gotta poop. That was it. I just want to poop. And she's like, just let it out. So I'm thinking I'm pooping the whole time. I'm laying down. Nothing's coming out. Nothing came out until I started pushing, I'm sure. Because she had the best view.
Oh, it was horrible. But yeah, I mean, it was beautiful to watch the baby come out.
A couple of hours later, I think I got to the hospital at like 10. And then at 1:08 p.m., 1:08 a.m., we had, I had Layla, who is 9 years old now. And she was born at 36 and a half weeks. At 7 pounds, 8 ounces, which to them was on the bigger side for what they called her was a preemie, even though technically she really wasn't a preemie. But so I exceeded all the expectations that they had for me. I had a vaginal birth. My baby was not large. I did not gain weight at all while I was pregnant. I actually lost weight because I was on a restricted diet. I was taking insulin, so yeah, everything that I was told that was negative about being heavyset pregnant was not the case at all. So
right. Anyway, so she's gonna finish.
Yes. Basically, not saying not to listen to medical professionals because they're in the business, because that's what they went to school for. That's what they know. But everybody's different. Everybody's body's different. Everybody's genetics are different. So I would just say listen to them with caution, and that's with any type of ailment or illness. So yeah, that is pretty much it. Just tread cautiously with medical professional advice for any type of ailment or anything that you have. It's just your bodies do what they want to do, and that's it.